Welcome to Escape the Rat Race Radio. Zaheer, how are you today?
Yeah, very good. Thanks, Chris. Thank you for having me. It's
It's
always
been
a
a
pleasure
long
speaking to you.
it's been a long time coming. I can't believe it's episode 78 it's taken until I've invited you on. I must apologize because you've really been there since day one with Escape the Rat Race. You've seen the evolution. Before
Yeah,
I even started Escape the Rat Race, we met. And we can obviously go into a little bit of that backstory in a moment.
yeah.
So,
Been a number of years actually.
well,
It's like 5 years ago now.
it was 2014. Yeah. So
Yeah, exactly. 5 years. Yeah,
I was still working. I was still working at my job in at the record label then, and I'd been searching, like probably many of our listeners right now, interested in trading. This
yeah,
kind of mythical make money really easily, and
yeah,
just sit at home on your laptop,
yeah.
and
Sure.
and we know that the story's a bit different to that, and I'm sure we're gonna talk about that today.
Yeah,
But
definitely. Would love to.
but then I met you at a trading meetup, and that really kind of switched the whole thing. And you showed me a very different approach to trading, one that was much more hands off, much more relaxed, less stressful, and ultimately it worked. And it
Yeah,
generates profits. So I'm sure
yeah,
everyone listening who's had an interest in trading, or certainly wants to find out a bit more, is going to be very interested in what you're going to talk about today. So why don't you kick us off here? Just give us a bit of your background. Why don't you say kind of how you got into trading initially as well?
yeah. Sure. So I started in 2007, and like yourself, I was working full time. I was in photography at the time, advertising photography, which is ultimately where the money is. And I was also working part time as an English teacher. So I was often working 7 days a week. I was making good money, but I didn't want to just leave the money in a bank. It's often the case with, many people who aren't fully aware of their options. It's often leave your money in a bank or put it into a property. But I really wanted to learn about investing and the stock markets because you hear about people like Warren Buffett and George Soros, Jim Rogers, and you see the staggering amount of wealth that they've generated. And I wanted to know a little bit more about that. So I started doing research, and like most people, I went down the route of day trading. But at the time, as I said, I was working full time, 7 days a week, often very, very long hours, and day trading just didn't sit well with me. I just didn't have the time to really do it, first of all. And secondly, it just seemed way too stressful. Um, and then towards the end of 2007, I found my mentor who taught me how to trend trade. And that's when everything really changed for me. I understood a style of trading that was more long term, more in line with investing. Trading often has this sort of it gives people the impression that when they hear trading, it's all about short term moves, when in fact trading is just a vehicle to making money. Your approach to the market will ultimately determine the results that you make. So if you have a get rich quick scheme mentality to your trading, then you'll achieve the results that often most people do, which is this sort of blown accounts and stress and failure, etc. It doesn't have to be like that. If you think more long term, which is what my mentor taught me around 2007, everything really changed. It took me about 4 years to get to a point where I was trading full time. I had a style of trading that I could adapt around my busy lifestyle. Hence the title of this podcast, which is trading as the perfect side hustle, which I truly believe it is. It took me 4 years to get to a point where I could then walk away from my full-time endeavors. And 2012, that's when I started mentoring and guest speaking. And really, the motivation for that was to put trend trading on the map. If you go down the route of trading, you often get funneled down the route of day trading, and it's all over the internet, where in fact it's not the best approach for private traders. Trend trading is the best way for private traders, and I really felt like I had to be a spokesman for that. And I started developing my social media profile, started guest speaking, started writing for the Huffington Post and a few other publications, FX Trader magazine. I did a presentation at Google Campus, etc. And so since 2012 up until today, that's really what I've been focusing on, getting people to understand the joys and the benefits of long-term trend trading and not getting caught up in all the sort of hype around day trading, which ultimately, doesn't work.
Yeah, and I've been a member of your Sublime Trading group since you set up, and we can talk a bit about Sublime and the other co-founders a bit later on. But you said there, the title for today, why trading is the perfect side hustle. But let's just paint a picture, just so everyone listening is really clear about what we actually mean when we're saying the word trading. Because for some people, they might be thinking, loads of guys in a trading pit, throwing money and shouting really loudly, but it's not that, right? So what are we talking about exactly?
Yeah, those days are, are long gone. And often, those are sort of city boy traders, in the pits. If you've seen movies like Trading Places, Eddie Murphy, you'll get an idea of what the pits are like.
And Wolf of Wall Street, of course, as well.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Wolf of Wall Street. Let's not forget the Wolf of Wall Street. And also what people need to realize is that the Wolf of Wall Street was a broker. He wasn't a trader. And often people get broker and trader mixed up. A broker is just a middleman. It's the traders that are doing the buying and the selling. So, people shouldn't get caught up in the Wolf of Wall Street. He gives a very wrong impression of what trading is. I mean, it gives a good idea of what brokers are like, and they still are like that. But as traders, it's very different. For us as private traders, you need a computer, one computer. You don't need a whole sort of flashy setup with 5-6 monitors. You need one decent laptop. I've got a 27-inch iMac. You don't even need it to be that big. It could be a 15-inch screen that you're trading on. I've got one 27-inch iMac. I've got a solid internet connection. I've got a bit of software. We use TradingView, and I've got a couple of broker accounts. That is my setup. And that's what makes trading the perfect side hustle, because you're doing everything from home. The overheads to run trading as a business is cheap. There aren't any other players involved other than the broker, but even then you're executing everything online. Occasionally you may have to call up your broker for whatever reason, but you're executing everything online. It's a very, very simple setup, and it's a very good way of generating consistent wealth through your own hard-earned endeavors. So people need to get away from that idea. This isn't a highly stressed out way of making money. You don't need to be glued to your screen all day. I mean, look, I'm speaking to you at 2:00 in the afternoon on a Thursday. It's a very relaxed conversation. The US stock market's going to open up in 15 minutes. I've got all my trades managed. I know exactly what needs to be done. It's already in place. That was done this morning. I've got the rest of the day to myself. So, yeah, I mean, I hope people really get that message. It's not what people think it is.
Yeah, and I can emphasize that as well. Obviously, from my own experience with trend trading, you do not need to be sitting in front of a computer all day long. As you said there, you literally can manage your trades in 20 or 30 minutes once you know what you're doing, right, in the mornings, and then check it at the end of the day. That's it. That really is all that's required.
Yeah, exactly. I think what people need to understand is that this 20 minutes a day is kind of chucked around quite a lot on the internet. But there is a whole sort of preparation process that goes into that. And as you know, from being part of Sublime, the preparation starts at the weekend. So, we make sure that we use our scanners. We know by Monday morning, we know where all the best setups are, and that's in foreign exchange, stocks, and commodities. And we also keep an eye out on cryptocurrencies. We can't totally ignore that market. It is an interesting market, but again, time and place. So it's that weekend preparation, which takes us no more than an hour, that allows us to spend no more than 10, 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes a day in front of the screen, Monday to Friday. And that's what makes it so powerful. So I know there's a lot of this, just takes 20 minutes a day. Yes, it does. But you've got to have that good weekend preparation. And that's something that I cannot emphasize enough. It's not just a case of me waking up in the morning, switching on my computer, quickly looking through a whole load of charts and going, right, I'm going to trade that one, which is often the case with many who go down the route of day trading, and which is why so many fail at trading, because the whole approach is wrong. Preparation is essential. Take time out at the weekend, spend an hour preparing for the week ahead, Monday to Friday will take you minutes a day. And it's that consistency that will get you the results that you want.
And of course, if you're part of a group such as your own, like Sublime, then of course you guys are there actually, providing pretty much all the tools and the research and showing everyone exactly how to do that and working together. So everyone's just kind of looking out for each other, sharing opportunities, aren't they?
Yeah, perfect. I mean, the preparation that we do at the weekend, we actually save our members from having to do that preparation. So we've got scanners. The scanners, they cost a lot of money on an annual basis. We subscribe to scanners. The results of the scanner have to be shifted through manually. So if you look at the US stock market, for example, there's over 10,000 stocks you could potentially trade. Using the scanner would bring down the number of stocks to maybe 200 or 300 stocks, but we still got to manually look through those 200, 300 stocks. That's where the hour preparation comes in. Now, because we do that for ourselves and our own personal portfolios, we share that scanning process and the results of the scanning process. We put those into videos and we put that into our community. So that whole process is done for our members, and so that they are fully prepared for the week ahead, just as we are.
Yeah, and these are all the reasons why trading is such a perfect side hustle for someone who is still in the 9 to 5, because you've said it doesn't take up a huge amount of time, and we know that time is always the number one challenge for people. So it fits in around a busy job. And I think the other benefit, which this is a point that I really want to get across to people listening as well, and we've talked about this a lot before, Zaheer, is that trading is not something that you quit your job to then become a trader, right?
No.
Because the way the markets work, you can't dictate how the market works. You can't dictate when the market's going to give you profit. So It's very, very risky. And I'd go as far as to say stupid to quit your job and say, hey, I'm just going to
say, spot on, Chris. The title of the webinar is Trading as the Perfect Side Hustle. It has to start off as a side hustle. The biggest mistake anyone can make is quitting your job to sit in front of the computer to then try and make your salary equivalent to your salary from the markets. And hence that's where the day trading mentality comes in. So if you're making £3,000, £4,000 a month from your job, most people think, well, why do I need to go to work? I could just do that from the financial markets. That is why people fail. If you come into trading, you have to come into trading with an investor mindset, not an employee mindset. The employee mindset will try and target a certain amount of money on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. And that's why people fail. The investor mindset will take money when the market is giving you money and will stand aside when the markets aren't giving you money. There's ebbs and flows to the market. There's periods where you can make very, very good profit. And then there's periods where you don't make money, but you have to protect the money you've already made. So if you have a look at 2017, we've had our 2017 trade log verified by an FCA regulated trading platform. This is something that just does not happen anywhere in this industry. We've had our 2017 and 2018 trade logs verified by an FCA regulated trading platform. Chris, you'll be able to email this out to anyone who wants it. We'll give you the link to it. In 2017, we made over 355% verified. In 2018, we made over 60% verified. So far this year, in 2019, we haven't really made any profit as yet because foreign exchange, the stock market and the commodities market, they're all pretty much flat. So you have to know when to trade and you have to know when to stand aside. Now, if you go back to my backstory, I said that I started in 2007 and then I went full time in 2011. That's because it took me 4 years to get to a point where I'd grown my account where I could then fund a lifestyle from it. That doesn't necessarily mean I'm a multi-millionaire. It means that I was able to fund a lifestyle from it by being able to dip into my trading account and take out £2,000 a month or whatever the case is to fund my lifestyle. So people need to understand, as you said, start off as a side hustle. Have your money growing in the background. If you've got a job, it's perfect because you have money coming through. You can leverage through the markets. You have a salary coming through. And in addition to that, it will encourage you to build a good routine to your trading. Start at the weekend, prepare for the week ahead, Monday to Friday. Only look at your computer in the evening when you've finished your work, you've come home, you've had dinner, you've settled down, spend 20 minutes in the evening looking at the markets, and you repeat again and again and again and again. It's as simple as that. You don't want to, as you said, you do not want to quit your job to sit in front of a computer all day. It's not who wants to do that, Chris? What kind of existence is that? You and the charts and candlesticks. Trust me, it's a boring boring existence. There's nothing interesting about looking at charts. Trading is interesting in the sense that when you understand it, how all the pieces slot together and how you can make good profit from it. But to sit and stare at the charts, better things to be doing.
Yeah. And as you say, though, with consistency, then trading can allow you to quit your job over time, but certainly it shouldn't be the other way around. Yeah.
No, definitely not. And how quickly you quit your job is very much dependent on how much money you start with. So if you're starting with £10,000, which is a good amount to start with, it may take you 4, 5, 6 years to get to that point. Whereas if you're starting with £100,000, you could potentially quit your job inside a year. So everyone starts at different amounts. Everyone's got to be realistic, but the end game of going full time and quitting your job, it's a very real target. Just got to be realistic in how quickly you'll do it.
I think that leads on really nicely to the big question that often comes up when talked about trading. Is it risky, or what are the risks involved? So talk to us about this, because protecting your capital is like number one, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Risk management ultimately determines how long your life is as a trader. Now, most people have very poor risk management principles. Here at Sublime, we train our members to understand, first of all, how to establish high probability environments. That's first and foremost key to trading. I mean, think about it. If you're crossing the road, you don't cross the road blindly. You look left, you look right, you make sure there's no cars coming, and then you cross the road. So you're reducing the chances of being hit by a car. It's the same thing with trading. You have to be able to establish high probability environments. What I mean by that is you have to understand environments where you reduce the chances of making losses and increase the chances of making profit. Now, we're playing on probabilities. There's still the chance of always losing money, which is why whenever we place a trade, it's always very small. 1% risk, maybe 2% risk, never more than 2%. So if it's a losing trade, it's only a 1% loss or a 2% loss. However, if that 1% starts returning us profit over the next 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, that 1% can quite easily grow into 10%, 15%, 20% return. And if you have multiple 1% risk exposure across several different trades, and you hold your winning trades over many months, that's how profit is accumulated. Where people go wrong is, I'm going to put 10% on this one investment, and I hope by the end of the day I've made 10%.
Yeah, it's gambling.
It's gambling, exactly. So if it goes wrong, you're 10% down. And then usually, I'm sure you're familiar with the martingale system, where then the next trade you allocate 20%, and then if that goes wrong, you allocate. You're always doubling up to try and cover your losses, right?
That sounds like a dangerous spiral.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like, I think it started in France in the 16th or 17th century, in the casinos.
Yeah. That's
where the martingale system originated from. And now people are using that same system, day trading in the financial markets. And that's where a lot of people go wrong. So it's not risky. Risk management. We manage risk every single day. We cross the road properly. We make sure our food is cooked properly, subconsciously or consciously. We manage risk every single day. It's the same thing with trading.
Yeah, just and stick to your trading plan is what you guys, say all the time, isn't it? Just have a plan and just stick to it.
Yeah, don't get greedy.
Yeah.
I know if you watch films like I can't remember the film with Michael Douglas. He says greed is good. What's the name of? I've got my mind's gone blank. But the point is, greed is not good.
Yeah.
Do not be greedy. It will never pay.
Yeah, and it's almost, I don't know if there's the right expression, but you've almost kind of got to be a bit robotic about it, isn't it? And just not let emotions get involved.
Yeah, as the expression says, as the expression goes, rather, trade like a robot. You've got to be mechanical. You've got to be clinical. You've got to be robotic. It's repetitive. George Soros, he said that if you're having fun trading, you're not making any money. There is an element of truth to that. I mean, where the real fun comes in is the lifestyle that trading will give you, but the actual principles of trading should always be quite mechanical and repetitive and robotic.
Yeah. So that's an interesting point then. So can anyone become a successful trader? Are there certain personality types that you would say like better suit trading?
You know what, Chris, it's a really, really good question. I would say that anyone can be a trader if you play the long game. where people go wrong is that they don't play the long game. Everyone wants out the system now. Everyone's got bills to pay, got rent to pay. I need money now, and that's where people go wrong. If you're well invested, if you have good training, if you have a 3 to 5 year plan, if you follow the rules impeccably, if you have good support and a good community behind you, anyone can do it. I mean, come on, Chris, look at our background. You know, I come from a background of software engineering. That's my degree. I've got I then became an English teacher. So I was a TEFL teacher for many years. I was then in photography for many years. I have absolutely no background in finance or economics or maths. It's just that I had the desire to get out the rat race and to make more money. And I also understood that if I try and push that, I'm going to fail. I've got to be sensible. I've got to let the money come to me. I've got to play the long game. You know, look at your background. You come from a music background. When we met, you were working in the music industry, and you've done well with your trading. So, you know, anyone can do it if you absorb the principles and if you play the long game. If you don't, you know, you'll fail.
Yeah. So, I mean, is trading definitely not for some people? If there's people out there, you know, looking, as we've said, like for a quick buck or anything else, I mean, anyone that you'd say, look, just don't get involved.
The only people that I would say is don't get involved are people that are desperate for money and people who aren't funded properly.
Yeah.
So, if you're desperate for money and if you're not well funded, then trading's not for you. I wouldn't say anything is for you. I'd say, like, sort out your financial situation. Go get a job. Make sure you got a regular salary coming through. Yeah, there may be other ways of making money other than a job, but trading, particularly day trading, is not the way. There will be other endeavors and other ventures that you could go down where you could make money. But the real strength to trading is leveraging money. So you've got to have a pot to leverage. Yeah. So if you aren't in that situation where you haven't got a decent pot to leverage, then trading is not for you.
Yeah.
But if you are well invested, if you have motivation, for example, if you're a family man or a woman, if you've got kids, if you've been in the rat race for 10 years and you're fed up of it, maybe you're just smart enough to realize that leaving your money in the bank is not going to get you anywhere. You know, if you're in that situation, then trading is definitely for you. You've just got to be open to the principles of good trading. Don't let other people's failures think that you're going to fail. You know, there's plenty of us who've done quite well. Most of them are in our community, of course, but there's many who've done well. And the reason why they've done well is because they've looked at day trading, and many of them do come from day trading backgrounds, haven't done well at day trading and thought, hang on, I haven't done well at day trading doesn't mean that trading doesn't work. It just means I need to have a different approach.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate. We know very well, obviously, that so many people are attracted by the benefits of trading, and there's some education out there, and we've both had the experiences in the past of education that hasn't been so good, and just hasn't had the integrity behind it. And perhaps there's people listening right now who've been burned, who've invested money in programs and systems and things like this, and it's just hasn't worked, and that's a shame. I mean, anything to add from your side about that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's ultimately our main motivation to setting up Sublime. I started mentoring and guest speaking in 2012, and my main motivation to that was really to help others to get to a point where their trading was firing on all cylinders. If you look at where we met at a traders meetup. How many of those traders back then, 5 years ago, do you think would now be in a position where they've done really well with their trading? And there were a lot of people at that event.
There was a
lot of people, right?
I mean, I'd say 5% or less probably.
Yeah, if that.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of rubbish out there, but you have to remember why there's a lot of rubbish out there. Before the internet, this whole industry was only really open to a very select few. Since the internet, the industry has opened up to everyone. And that's where it can go wrong for the system. Because ultimately, when I talk about the system wants people working 9 to 5. The system needs everyday people churning the wheels to make sure that the rich get richer and we stay in the system 9 to 5 until we get to a certain age where we can then consider retirement. That's the way the system is designed. Something as powerful as trend trading, which is how the richest traders in the world have ever made money. People like Jesse Livermore, the Turtle Traders, Jim Rogers, Nicholas Darvas, all the richest traders in the world, they've all made money from trend trading. And this was pre-internet. Fast forward to today, we have software and we have technology. This whole industry is open to all of us. If people started making this work for them, who's going to be turning the wheels? Yes, there'll always be people, but there'll be a vast number of people who'll be escaping the system. So this needs to be buried. And how do you bury it? By allowing shysters and con men to thrive on the internet, because it's quite easy to shut these people down. You know, there's a million and one unhappy people out there. You just need to put in scam and see the number of threads that come up about trading. It's not that trading is a scam. It's the people that promote it that are the scammers. And they're allowed to get away with this year in, year out from one country to another. It's really sad because ultimately, not only do they take your money, but they take away your goals and your dreams. And a lot of us are just hardworking, everyday people with families, with goals, with children. We just want better for the people in our lives. Why can't we achieve our goals through trading? However, you go to the wrong people, they'll take those away from you. And this is why Sublime was set up. It was really to guide everyday people to trading success. And, you know, we're doing that.
Well, tell us a bit more about Sublime then, Zaheer, and your two wonderful co-founders as well.
Yeah, lovely. So we set up Sublime actually January 2018. That's when we went live. Before that, we were part of another community, which had its benefits, but there were certain aspects of that community that were missing. And speaking to a lot of the members of that community, as I said, in 2012, I started guest speaking, and I really started building a profile for myself as a advocate for trend trading. Now, as I started building up my social media profile and my presence as a guest speaker, I was part of another community. So everyone who was coming through me would then join this other community, this previous community that I was a part of. So both Collar and Twig, who are my co-founders of Sublime, were also part of this previous community. Now, the community had its benefits, but there was a lot of aspects that were still missing. Ultimately, when it comes to trading or when it comes to any sort of side hustle, the bottom line is you want to make money. You're not joining a community just to learn how to trade and to be given flashy tools. You know, ultimately, you want a portfolio that's generating profit. In 2017, myself and Collar, we both generated over 300% profit in 2017. When you speak to a lot of members of the previous community, many of them didn't make any money. And for me, I felt that was a real shame. So I broke away. I created Sublime. I took Collar with me. I took Twig with me. We set up Sublime so that not only do we have the tools, not only do we have the strategy, the forum, the live training, the weekly webinars, but the one aspect of our community, which our members really appreciate, is the fact that we actually share the trades that we take. So we're doing that in an FCA regulated environment. So we're working alongside an app called Pelican. We have our own group within Pelican. And so any trades that we do take, we place it in the group and we say, right, this is where we're going long. This is our stop loss. When we add compounds, when we exit, how much risk we allocate, it's all there in clear daylight, 100% accountability and transparency, so that our members can grow their own portfolio alongside our portfolio. And so that's what really makes us unique to not just the previous community, but also all the other trading communities out there. You know, we're a trend trading community, but we're also working within an FCA regulated framework, which makes us quite appealing to our members.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a fantastic community and some great people in there. And as you say, people getting results, which is the main thing as well.
Yeah.
So is there anything I haven't asked you around the topic of trend trading, Zaheer, that you'd like to share before we bring the interview to a close today?
Yeah, I mean, the main point that I'd really like to get across to people is don't dismiss trading based on other people's failures. That's one of the key sort of struggles that a lot of traders have, which is a lot of people have, which is, does trading really work? And often, as you know, based on Escape the Rat Race, there are other ways of making money, property, for example, or buying and selling on Amazon. These tend to have a much better reputation compared to trading. And rightly so. They're both perfectly viable ways to making money, but not everyone is interested in going out and looking at properties. Not everyone's interested in products and buying and selling on Amazon and dealing with customs and all of that, all of the troubles, I guess, that come with having an Amazon business. Not everyone's got the entrepreneurial spirit. I wouldn't consider myself an entrepreneur. Back in 2007, when I started trading, I just saved up a lot of money. I wasn't interested in starting a new business or creating the next big app. All I wanted was a way of making more money from the money I saved up. Trading fits the bill. I was working long hours. I was working from home. There weren't any other people involved. This isn't some kind of multi-level marketing scheme where I need to introduce people. There's none of that. When I understood the benefits of trend trading, it was exactly what I was looking for. Something I could do from home, the perfect side hustle, low overheads. Yes, there's the education phase, which can take a few weeks, but ultimately the time involved for the result. Trading was when I understood the benefits of trend trading, I just knew that is exactly what I was looking for. Something I could do from home, a side hustle, something that fit around my busy lifestyle, something that had low overheads, because ultimately, what are you paying for? You're paying for a bit of software, maybe training, broker fees, but these are very, very low overheads for the money that can be generated. There weren't any other people involved, so this isn't some kind of multi-level marketing scheme where I have to sell to others, And in addition to that, Chris, and as you know, particularly for UK residents, we have tax-free benefits. Mm-hmm. So if trading is not your primary hustle, it's a side hustle, and you've got a job that is your main job, you're paying your taxes through your job. And if you're trading using spread betting accounts, it's tax-free. So the money that you are making, it's 100% yours. And yes, people have heard the term spread betting, and often that can cause a little bit of fear in people as well. Oh, you're spread betting. But spread betting, again, is just a vehicle or a way to, or is a route to market. You can go down the traditional route of using a bank to buy shares. That's one way of doing it. But spread betting, a lot of our members, if they understood how spread betting worked and the benefits of spread betting, they would have started using spread betting accounts a long, long, long time ago. So yeah, but what I would, the real sort of final message I would get out to people is that don't dismiss trading based on other people's failures. People are failing because of their approach, the fact that they think they're going to get rich in a few weeks. They're not. Play the long game. Learn how this works. Adapt around your busy lifestyle. You'll be pleasantly surprised what you can achieve in 4 or 5 years doing this properly. It's a game changer.
Yeah. Oh, that's brilliant. And most people listening probably are listening now to the audio version of this podcast. We are actually recording video as well. So if you want to check out the video of us having our chat today, then head over to the Escape the Rat Race website, and the URL, which you've actually given us a freebie for this episode, which is for anyone listening who wants to actually jump on your next webinar, right?
Yeah.
So if you are listening now and you want to actually do the live webinar with Zaheer and actually see some visuals around what we've been talking about today, so it all starts really making sense to you, then head over to etrr.online/podcast78. And is there anything on that webinar that people should be looking forward to, Zaheer?
Well, yeah, I'm going to be explaining the 3 habits that would make trading the perfect side hustle. And this the webinar is for traders of all levels. So if you're brand new to trading, you'll understand why those 3 habits are essential. If you've already been trading, but you've been day trading and you haven't really achieved the results that you've wanted, the 3 habits that we cover will make you understand why you haven't been trading. We also tell you more about how you can join Sublime and the benefits of joining Sublime, and why you should be joining Sublime if trading is the route that you want to go down. So yeah, a lot of good. It's usually about an hour long.
Yeah.
And there's a question and answer session as well. And these are live webinars. These aren't recorded. These are live webinars. So I'll be doing the webinar, and there'll be an opportunity for everyone to ask questions. And we stay online until all the questions have been answered.
Yeah, you definitely do. It's great value. So yeah, definitely jump on that webinar. And if you just want to tap the link in the show notes today, that'll take you right there to the registration, and you can sign up for the next available webinar with Zaheer. So Zaheer, that's been really, really great chatting to you today. And, I think you've really just kind of hopefully debunked a lot of the myths around trading for people who perhaps, as we said, have been burned in the past and still have an interest, still really would love to actually see some success and some profits from trading. So it's been great.
Thanks, Chris. No, it's always a pleasure speaking to you. You're part of our inner circle. You have been for a long time, and you've always been a big supporter and a big advocate of trend trading and Sublime and the message that I'm trying to get out to people. And it's always a pleasure talking to you. So thanks again for your time, Chris.
You're welcome. Thanks, Zaheer.
You're welcome. Cheers, Chris. Take care. Bye-bye.